If you've never been through the criminal justice system before, it's very difficult to understand your rights. The Constitution provides you with rights, but sometimes when you're in the midst of responding to allegations against you, it's hard to remember, what can I do? And that's why it's important for you to educate yourself. You don't really, and I'm very much opposed to hiring consultants to try and help you understand these things, because you need to invest the time to learn. For example, you want to learn, what does this mean, this concept of a Fifth Amendment right to self-incrimination? Well, the Constitution provides under the Fifth Amendment that you don't have to speak to any law enforcement officer if you don't want to. You could always choose to remain silent, because you know that law enforcement officers have been trained and they're going to use all of their training to gather information and evidence that they can use against you. So if you invoke your Fifth Amendment right to not testify against yourself or provide evidence against yourself, you are going to be protecting yourself. And you can get this information really easily to learn more about this concept. And you should learn more about this concept. I'll give you an example. I was working with a young woman who was approached by law enforcement officers at her vehicle. And they led her to believe that they had the authority to talk to her. And they said, "You need to come with us." She didn't know to invoke her Fifth Amendment right and say that she didn't want to cooperate or do anything to assist in the investigation against herself. But it didn't matter what she wanted. The law enforcement officers knew what they wanted, and they instructed her to drive her own car to the police station. They proceeded to search the car. They proceeded to gather information that they would later use to bring a charge against her. That's the reason we frequently say, don't ever speak with law enforcement officers without an attorney presence. You don't have to speak to a law enforcement officer, but if you do, make sure that you tell the truth, because that could lead to another charge. Now, you can get more information. Oh, I don't have that set up yet. You can get more information just by using the artificial intelligence button that we built on our website at Prison Professors, and just ask about, what is the Fifth Amendment right to avoid self-incrimination? What can I do? The more you learn about what you can do, the better off you are going to be. And you should look under this concept of your right to not incriminate yourself. You should also look to learn a little bit more about this concept of search warrants and subpoenas, because the government can get a search warrant for a judge to search various aspects of your life, whether it's your person or your property, such as your home or your office or perhaps your vehicle. But that's because they have convinced the judge that there's probable cause of evidence of a crime, that they can gather evidence of a crime. A subpoena is asking for you to come and present yourself as to provide testimony to a grand jury. And there's another, again, in the artificial intelligence of our section of our site, you will learn more about grand juries. There's another kind of a subpoena called a subpoena duces tecum that requires you to produce documents, whether it's financial documents, emails, all kinds of evidence that they might be able to use to find a trail that may help investigators convict you of a crime. You definitely want a defense attorney to help you navigate those complexities. But you also want to be aware of why it's so important for you to protect your rights. You don't know whether you want to cooperate with the investigation or remain silent. That's why you need a defense attorney to help you. You don't want to be giving away information that you may be able to use as leverage if a defense attorney is skilled in negotiating a path for you. You have to recognize that when you're brought into the criminal justice system, it is a system where people have trained for many years to gather evidence, to build a case. Sometimes they're not necessarily after justice, they're after a conviction. That's how people advance their careers in the justice system, is by getting convictions. And you want to know how to respond to these very complicated situations of responding anytime law enforcement officers want to talk with you. You want to understand whether you should cooperate or remain silent. You want to understand how should you respond to a subpoena, whether you're going to go and appear before a grand jury or you're going to provide documents. You want to understand how to respond when there is a search warrant in the best possible way. And when it makes sense to make one decision or another. So it's very important for you to have competent defense counsel to assist you. You want to learn everything you possibly can about constitutional rights, and that's the reason that we've built this artificial intelligence prompt that you can find at the bottom of any of our screens. Just ask a question, and it will provide information that we've curated from the Code of Federal Regulations and our own experience over many, many years. We offer a lot of free information on our website at prisonprofessors.org that you could use to hopefully help you make better decisions. You always want to be architecting a strategy that will lead you to the best possible outcome. And I've frequently said this. I really recommend that you do your own research. You educate yourself. Don't fall prey to a predatory prison consultant or somebody who masquerades as a prison consultant expert. The reality is a lot of those people just served 1 year in a single prison camp, and they've come home and they try to gather a lot of information and sell it to you as an expert. In the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. But we really want you to learn everything you possibly can. That's why we publish so much free information on Prison Professors. We want you thinking about how can you navigate this labyrinth and work most effectively with your criminal defense attorney. Now, we recognize that some people want a personal guide. I'm never going to be available as that personal guide because my main focus is on reform and changing the system so that people can work to earn freedom through merit. And that's something that benefits all of you. Now, our sponsor is a friend of mine. Our primary sponsor, Justin Paperny, is the founder of whitecollaradvice.com, and he's launched a service that is free. That can answer your one-on-one questions because I just don't have the bandwidth to do that. But you might visit whitecollaradvice.com/nonprofit. It's reserved for members of our community where you could be interactive and respond to questions, get responses to your questions, and hopefully help you make better decisions. But again, my main mission is to help you learn everything you possibly can to work most effectively with your defense attorney and position yourself for the best possible outcome. I'm Michael Santos, the founder of Prison Professors, and I believe in you.